Hey, everybody, welcome back to I Am That Bitch podcast, season 3. And I know it's been a while, but I saved the best for the first episode. So don't hate me because you guys are going to love this and you're going to love her like I love her. Welcome, Sydney Curtin. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing great. It's so good to see you again. To be back, to be on season 3 is incredible.
I've been dying to get you on because we've been talking now for over a year,
Yes, we have.
right? And we've grown, both of us, since then. And so much has happened. But first, before we get into it, I want you to tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again for having me on. And it's been so fun to see your growth over the last year. And it kind of is a blessing in disguise that it worked out the timeline that it did because so much has happened over the year that we
Oh,
have known each other. So I am a mom of 3. I am a multi business owner. I own 7 businesses. The biggest 2 of those is I own an exterior home and auto restoration brokerage, and I own an AI mobile application. I am also a published author and songwriter. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I do a lot of public speaking. I work with a nonprofit organization, changing laws, specifically in adoption. So I'm like you, girl. Like I'm busy. I'm all over the map, but I love everything that I do. It's great.
I love that. And this is why I love her so much because she's a badass. 7 businesses. I have 8. It's in our blood. I think it's the way we were genetically made.
Yeah.
But you do powerful things. We had a conversation. So let's talk about, well, what do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about your businesses or do you want to talk about the adoption?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where my heart and passion is. I mean, like you said, we've talked about this. So my businesses are such a blessing because they're what funds my ability to have the financial freedom to do these other things. Where my heart really lies is in all of the bullshit that I've overcome. I, that whole turn your pain into purpose, it's really true. It's a little bit corny, okay? But like, I just want,
True.
well, it is super true. I just want people to get out of this victim mentality. I lived there too long. It held me back. I allowed myself to be identified by labels. And so while I'm super blessed by these businesses, while I'm passionate about all of them, like my heart is in all of this other stuff that I do.
So let's talk about your story. So you're fighting for adoption laws, but why? Why are you so passionate?
Yeah. No, it's to make a long story short with your episodes and give a comprehensive overview to all of your listeners and viewers. What it is that in 2019, I got pregnant with my oldest daughter. I had a really abusive, toxic childhood. I thought it was from my mom because my mom was a drug addict and she struggled with a lot of things. She ended up taking her own life when I was 13.
Oh,
A lot of where my actual pent up shit came from though was I was raised by a dad that had a lot of narcissistic tendencies. I've
mm,
come to a place now where I can understand him a little bit more. He was raised without a dad, so I say that if you didn't have one, you don't know how to be one, right? Is where I've found some grace for him. But I'm the oldest and I'm the only girl. So when I got pregnant, his automatic reaction was, well, you have to place this baby for adoption. You're not raising this kid. There was no conversation. That was the immediate reaction.
so sorry. How old were you then?
So I was 20, I was just turning 21 when I found out
Okay.
I was pregnant. I was like 3 months away from being 21.
Okay.
Well, I had always fought like hell for my dad's approval, being the only girl. And I didn't really realize this until I was older. But I was so hell bent that I would be enough for my dad, that he would love me, that he wouldn't be disappointed in me, that I have overperformed in every area of my life and gone through absurd lengths and obstacles to earn that love from him that really just never came. Well, I did end up making the decision to place my daughter for adoption, and it was for a lot more than just my dad. Her biological father was not a stable or safe individual. I wanted her to grow up in a home that had a married mom and dad. I was told adoption is preventing generational trauma from repeating itself. So I had this image in my head that I wasn't enough, right? On top of that, I've got the only living parent in my life saying, there's no way in hell you can do this with this POS that got you pregnant. And there's no way that you're ready for this on your own. So your options really are adoption, right? There was
Mhm.
some wisdom in it. It was the delivery that
Yeah.
became the issue. Neither here nor there. Where all of the weight fell was on me to make the decision and the relationship that I would then develop with my daughter's adoptive family or adoptive parents, really. They promised me the moon and the stars. They called me brave and sacrificial and loving, and that they would never want to take my daughter from me. And less than 5 years later, completely pulled the rug and removed me from my daughter's life, moved her out of the country. There's officially no contact left.
Well,
They've
so
gaslit me.
let's go back for a second. You had an open adoption.
I did start
So
with an open adoption
right. Okay, so that's so people know the context. So you had a relationship with your daughter
for
um,
the first 5 years.
for the first 5 years, and then it changed.
Yeah,
And
and
that was an agreement, right?
it's a written agreement. They signed it, I signed it, but at the time, open adoption was not legally enforceable in the state that I reside. I'm in the States, I'm in Colorado. So that was not a legally binding agreement. It was basically like a handshake agreement, good faith agreement. In my mind, though, I was like, I shouldn't need something legally binding if I'm trusting you with something as precious as my child. If I can't trust you at your word, then we have no foundation for a relationship.
Wow. Wow. So what happened? Like, did just one day they just stopped contacting you, or
It was
how'd
like,
that go down?
yeah, it was slowly chipping away at the relationship. So it would start with, well, we no longer can commit to uploading the pictures per month. Our agreement was 6 in-person visits per year and photos uploaded just once a month, just a couple photos to this shared Shutterfly account where I wanted updates to know that she's healthy, happy. It was very, very basic, right? So it started with, we can't do the pictures always, but if we remember, we'll do it. And then it switched to, well, now we can only do the visits, or 4 visits a year. And then they came to me and then they said, well, now we're moving out of the country. So now we're going to have to do FaceTime. So we went to 6 FaceTimes per year. And then on my birthday one year, they were like, hey, now we can only do 4 FaceTimes per year. And I was like, okay, respectfully, no, because this isn't what I agreed to. This isn't what you promised me. You've given me no reason as to why we're doing this. I've been accommodating and patient with all of it. So what's going on? We ended up sitting down with the agency that we used to place through. And I laid it out there. I was like, listen, guys, if I've done anything to disrespect you, to toe step that I need to apologize for in order to heal this relationship, tell me.
Yeah,
I'll do
let me fix it.
Yeah, let me fix it so that we can do what's best for our daughter, right?
Yeah.
This is like, she's my baby. You can never take that from me. She's your baby. I can never take that from you, nor do I want to. I want to make sure that we're demonstrating healthy communication, conflict resolution, and facilitating a loving environment that builds her identity rather than tears it down. So, how do we get back to that? And they swore up and down, no, you haven't done anything wrong. We're just at a different stage of life. We're really busy. We just can't accommodate. But let us think about it. We'll get back to you. 6 weeks later, we hop back on a call with the agency. My daughter's adoptive mom, who I can't stand now, I'll come to forgive her one day, but it's not today. She has a letter and she goes, I'm going to read this. We're unwilling to facilitate further conversation after reading this with the agency or Sydney. She says, you have used our words against us in order to facilitate and manipulate your own selfish agenda to have a relationship with our daughter, proving that you are a danger to her, and effective immediately, we are null and voiding the openness agreement, reinstating full control. Now you can see her 2 times a year on FaceTime at her birthday and around Christmas, and we expect you not to reach out and communicate at all. And any other communication outside of that will be taken as a violation of the new parameters that we've set into place. And after they finished reading it, they hung up the call, and I didn't hear from them until December of that year.
Wow. And your daughter knew you. She knew who you were?
She does. She cried on her birthday because she wanted more contact with me. She was in tears on her birthday. I've got a video of her crying because she misses me. She wants a relationship with me. She doesn't understand the distance. There's a lot of identity things happening because she's going to be 7 this year. So this was when
Wow.
she was 6, had just turned 6, was the last time that I talked to her. Well, that's when I got really active about a lot of this adoption stuff. The words that they're referring to, by the way, in the letter is in the hospital when I placed, they were there. And I looked her in the eyes before I signed relinquishment papers and I said, do you promise that you will never take her from me? And I'm bawling. And she's crying, sitting next to me, and she looks at me and she said verbatim, it would be ungodly to do so. And I have quoted those words to her because bet your ass, if you're going to take my child and call me a threat with nothing to back it and not accept the wisdom from the adoption agencies, social workers, professionals that have been doing this longer than you have been alive, then yeah, I'm going to quote your words to you because you have now found a way to legally kidnap my daughter and you're not doing what's in her best interest. You're doing what's in the best interest of protecting your ego.
Wow, I that's heavy. That's some heavy information. Like the fact that you're
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
It's
I
a
mean,
baggage. Yeah, I'll take it. I'm just kidding.
I'm my own girl. I'm my own when it comes to even adoption. So with me, I don't have any children. I did fertility treatments for 10 years. I
Right.
lost 4 babies, and I actually have a failed adoption
Mm.
uh, process that I went through. And that's very, very deep. But for you to hand over this beautiful, healthy baby girl to somebody with promises being made and then say them use the words godly and then you're calling them out on their shit, that it's
Well,
that's fucking deep.
and the reason that they moved countries was to start a mission work. Like they were starting a church in France, and it just I can't tell you how much it messes with my head that the people raising my child can genuinely claim in their heart and believe, I think, that they are doing the Lord's work while they can't honor an honest commitment that was made before God, before an agency, before a judge. Like all of these things, you can't honor this basic agreement in your own life and you think that you can somehow share the love of Christ? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they're gonna once they make them meet the maker, that's something that I don't even like. I have no words. Like I
It's
have no
been
words.
well, so then this last year, 25, um, on December 5th, I got an email from them because since that most recent communication, since they read that letter to me, I went full blown because you can cut off communication, but you can't stop a mother's mission. And that's my baby.
Amen.
And you can say that that's your child, and they did in the email that they wrote me, but I would love to see someone take my DNA out of my daughter. That will always be my child,
Yeah,
you know?
there's no changing that. But I feel like she'll be back. Like when she
I
gets older, and she has the freedom, like, because clearly she doesn't have freedom right now.
right.
Once she has that freedom to search for you, um, but do you think at like 5 years old, she's still going to remember you at 5 years old when
Yeah,
she
that's
grows up?
definitely when core memories are like, there's definitely, I have lots of memories from 3, 4, 5. So, and I don't believe that they'll stop talking about it. I think that they'll just find reasons to justify why they are no longer in communication with me. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, yeah, I hope so. I hope that they don't like scrub her brain of you.
I think that they know that they would really be hurting themselves. I think that they believe they're too intelligent to risk that type of emotional damage. I really believe that. I think that that would be absolutely moronic on their piece. So I am not really worried about that. I'm more worried about them poisoning the well and acting as though I've done something to endanger her, since those were their words in the letter. And this is the email that they sent me, this most recent communications in December. Well, like I said, I went full bore. I published the book. I've done all of these podcasts. I work on the board of a nonprofit organization where we're actively going to states and changing these laws to make open adoption, for example, legally enforceable. If you're, and there's a reason for that too. I'll share in just 2 seconds here. But what they said to me in the email when they were justifying why they have to cut off all contact moving forward is they said, you are sharing our daughter's story without her consent or permission, which further proves that you are a danger and is a violation of our agreement. Well, first of all, I never said that I wouldn't share photos of my daughter. That was never part of the agreement, never has been. But two, and the bigger piece of this is that in any adoption, there are 3 pieces of this story. There's the adoptee, which I believe in my heart always will. This is the most crucial experience of the adoption triangle. And then we have natural parent or birth family, and we have adoptive family.
Mhm.
So saying that I'm sharing my daughter's story without her permission is just gaslighting, and there's no way around it. I'm way too
100%.
intelligent to be gaslit. I'm sharing my lived experience based on the adults that were involved in the situation. So you're not going to sit here and tell me that I'm sharing my daughter's story. I'm sharing my lived experience, and my daughter is who I fight for every day.
So out of this, you have done what? What have you created?
So I wrote my book, Courageous Considerations, which is sitting around here somewhere, but it's available on Amazon, and it has a workbook that comes with it. What I really did was I took the principles of a premarital workbook that sometimes people will complete before they get married, really just to make sure that they align on the 5 leading topics that lead to divorce. Okay, so when we do this, we know that we're decreasing the likelihood of divorce. Well, in adoption, there's a very high percentage of adoptions that start open or semi open and end closed. And the reason for that is because we are not treating these relationships with the same gravity and sanctity that we do marriage. But it's more than a marriage because you're already entering into it with a child and you can't get out of that. So, no, it's not co parenting, but when a child's involved, the same gravity of a marriage needs to be considered. So, I had 3 segments. It's real straightforward. It's also very short. Segment 1 is self, and this is for both people. It's not just birth moms, okay? Like, we need to know, why do I want to adopt, first of all? And if it's on from my lived perspective or my corner of the triangle, who's influencing me to even be considering this? Why did I pick up this book? Is adoption
Right.
something, where did I get the familiarity with adoption? What do I know about it? What do I need to know? And then the segment 2 is interview questions, and interview is a terrible word, but that's how people treat it in the industry of adoption. It's really like, are we compatible? What are your love languages, communication styles, conflict resolution strategies? What do you need when you're feeling this way? Do you tend to shut down, or do you tend to like explode? This is how we can, and it's, those are not the questions. I didn't pull those from the book, but these are the topics that are spoken about. How involved is your family? How involved is my family? How involved do I want to be? Like, there's tons of them, and they're just bullet point. It's like, you don't have to ask all of them, because some people want more of a semi-open arrangement. So it's really just for people to flip through, figure out the questions that are important to them and that would apply in their situation, so that when they sit down with families, and when families sit down with expectant mothers, we can make sure, is this a really good match, or do I just really want a baby? Or on the flip side, or am I just really in a rush? Because we don't want to make rushed decisions with something
Mhm.
of this gravity.
Can I just play devil's advocate for just a moment?
Yeah, please.
Because I'm sure I'm not going to be the first or the last person that asks you anything like this. So, say I adopt a baby and the biological mother wants a relationship with them. Do you foresee any kind of problems? Like, you look like you have a good head on your shoulders and you understand like the rules and stuff like that, but there's going to be women out there that don't,
Sure.
and that could cause maybe conflict or a problem with raising the child. Like, what if the kid comes to you and says, I don't want to be with you, I want to go with my mom, like my real mom? You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know how to like word it, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I
Like,
do, absolutely. No, I'm letting you, because there's a lot to unpack there. So
yeah, so do your laws that you're fighting for protect the adoptive parents as well?
absolutely, yeah. So it's both ways. So for example, the way that we've written the verbiage is that in open adoption, and this is one that is still in some states, people push back really hard. It's already legal in 23 states. Open adoption is legally enforceable in 23 states here. But it's a two-way street. So a birth mom can't just say, I want this contract, but I'm also not going to abide by the contract. I'll use my own situation as an example. Had I asked for 6 visitations a year and they abided by that, but I either ghosted or didn't finish scheduling, and those 6 visits didn't come to fruition in a year,
Mhm.
after a certain amount of time of violating that agreement, and that is different state by state, so there's not a concrete, this is the amount of time, the adoptive parents can go to court to null and void that agreement. It's just the same thing for birth parents, so that the authority isn't unequally distributed. Now, one of the other things that we, of course, take into consideration, just like they do with child custody, like child protective services, all of those same concepts need to be in place for adoption too, because we're not trying to say that natural families should have equal rights. We're trying to say that the promises that were made should be kept.
Yeah.
That does not diminish either
On
person's
both sides.
on both sides. It doesn't diminish either person's role or value. So for example, and it is complicated, right? Because birth moms have stereotypes for a reason. And that's what I run into in the states that give me pushback about open adoption being legally binding. Well, what about poverty? What about drug use or alcohol consumption? What about all these things? That's why we have the safety parameters set in place. We're not saying that adoptive parents have to have a relationship with somebody that's dangerous. We're just saying you have to prove that they're dangerous, because in my case, if we went to court and asked for proof, they'd have none. They would say, well, she's posting about us on social media. Yeah, I am, because my daughter's going to know that I fought for her. That's not a violation of you. It's not detrimental to your business. You're with a nonprofit. Like, you are funded by the church. Your living expenses are paid for by the mission that you're on. I'm not doing anything detrimental to you. And if the fact that I'm holding you accountable for your words and actions makes you upset, then cry me a river.
Wow. So do you know where they are in Paris or no?
They're in France, and I do, but I would butcher the name of the town.
Yeah. So like, oh. So your agreement, so you can't have any contact with her until she reaches out to you.
Decide that they want it again.
Or
until she's of age and she reaches out. Right.
Wow. So what are you going to do in the meantime?
Well, so this is where like my faith comes into play big time, because I have 2 beautiful children that I raise in my home. And I spent a lot of time being angry for not believing in myself. It would have taken one person to say, Sid, God gave this baby to you because he trusted you to raise this baby. I had too many voices in my ear, and I didn't have the confidence in myself or the belief in myself to make that executive decision. And again, a lot of other variable circumstances, raising her with who her dad was would have been an absolute nightmare. But there's other factors, right? So having somebody believe in me like that would have been what I needed. All of that to say, I had to make a very conscious decision that even though when I placed, I said that I trust God, like I am trusting God with something huge, because I'm giving my baby to these people and hope and just crossing fingers and toes and praying to God that they don't back out on what they've promised me. And they did. So I was angry for a really, really long time about that. And I still struggle. There's waves of that just grief just comes in emotions, these waves where you just have to deal with it. But I have 2 babies that God has given me that I'm responsible for now, and that I need to be emotionally present for now. My oldest daughter that lives here, for example, she misses her sister dearly, and she knows about her. She asks why she can't be at her birthday parties, or why she can't have a sleepover, or why her adoptive parents keep her from us. I have to focus on that. Like that's my mission. That's my testimony, is these babies that I am in control of, because there's nothing that will ever change my love for my oldest daughter. There's nothing that will ever stop the books, the podcast, the nonprofit work. All of that will be a vessel for her to find me, but I can't control what they say about me. And I also can't control when she comes back to me or what her demeanor towards me will be when she does. True. I can answer questions. I can extend grace. I can take responsibility for my part in the matter. But at the end of the day, these 2 right here, that's my testimony.
Maybe you probably already do this already. It's funny because lately I've been turning more to God, the way the world is and whatever. And I'm still that bitch. Don't get it twisted. But just me and my relationship with God has become closer. And this morning I read something that actually brought me to tears. So like Lent is about to start. And for the first time, I'm going to try to fast. Okay. I'm Greek Orthodox, and I'm going to try. But a lot of my feed is a lot of like Christians, and it said like some parts were missing out of the Bible. And I thought, I'm going to go to my Bible and see. And sure enough, it's not missing out of mine. But I digress. But you say, God gave you this child, right? He chose you. But maybe he chose you to go through this.
Right. And it's interesting that you say that. Go ahead, finish.
So you are going to go through this for a reason. You're a messenger. You have to change laws. You're going to open up new opportunities for other birth moms or biological parents. and also protect adoptive parents in this scenario that have chosen to do an open adoption, and it's hell for them.
Right.
So it's protecting people on both ends. And you needed to do this to make the change. Somebody was chosen, and clearly that was you. I just
Mm,
got chills all over my body.
thank you so much. It's so,
So,
because it's like I'd trade all of it for to have her, you know, like
of
as a
course
mother,
you would.
you don't care about it, but it's so important. And somebody said that to me in different words. There's the story of how Moses was sent down the river in a basket
Yeah.
and how he later went on to become king.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I'm that'd be great if she becomes the queen of, you know, wherever she ends up. Like, love that
Right.
for her. But you know, somebody said it to me really graciously because I was just distraught, especially when I came home from there's this maternal, like, gut wrenching feeling. I can't even imagine. God bless the women that go to term and have a stillborn or something happens and they lose their child in delivery. I have the peace of mind of knowing that my daughter is healthy, that
Mhm.
she's provided for, and that even though I'm not in agreement with her adoptive parents right now, that she is deeply loved
Yeah.
by me and by them and by everybody that knows her and knows the story. Like, people love that little girl. And I couldn't ask for more. God asked Moses' mother to send him down in a basket
Mhm.
down a river
Yeah.
and to trust God. I wasn't asked to send my baby
Yeah.
down a river in a basket. I was asked to trust that there would be something of this. And I don't know what that looks like yet, but Exodus 14:14 says, "Be still, and I will fight for you." Like, I will fight for you. You need only to be still. And I have that on me now because I'll always be a fighter, just to be clear. Like, there's not something I can't lay down, but I can't control it. So
Yeah.
how I fight, what I fight for now has changed in light of the fact that I've actually let go of control. I want her to come home one day. I've just focused in on what I need to be doing.
So what is you're going to be doing? What's next for you?
I am about to release my second book. It's a
Oh,
children's book and it's a bedtime story from your first mom. And it will probably say birth mom. Not everybody knows what first mom is. That's the terminology that I use.
yeah.
But that
I
is
like
dedicated
first
to
mom. I
I
like I like that.
well, birth mom, it was actually this is really sweet. And this is one of the reasons why I fell in love with my daughter's adoptive mom at first. And this is important because if she sees this, since she's got people all over my social, she needs to know like that I think I understand her heart. And while I don't agree with what she's doing, there was a point in time that I loved her deeply and I'm hurt right now. But she is the one that called me one day. And I remember I was in my office at work and she said, I was just curious if you like what you want us to call you, because I don't like the idea of saying birth mom. That makes me feel like I'm objectifying you, like that you just gave birth to her. How do you feel about first mom? That was her idea. That
Oh,
wasn't my idea.
oh,
And I didn't know anything other than birth mom. People had only explained it to me as birth mom. And it just made me feel so seen and so special because she knew how deeply I loved my daughter. And so that was her heart. And I believe that that heart is still there somewhere. I really do. But so that children's book dedicated to my daughter. It's for adoptive parents to read their kids. Some adoptive parents, there's not enough coaching always on how we talk to our children about the fact that they're adopted and that they
mhm.
have been from birth or whatever the situation. That's the goal of this book, is to help kind of gently cradle, like toss this baton to you and set you up for that with success. I also will continue my work with the nonprofit. I want to see open adoption legally enforceable in all 50 states with strict safety parameters involved for everyone.
I like it. Well, maybe there'll be 51 states. Just kidding.
Yeah, right. No, that's the truth. Absolutely.
Well, I think you should stick with the first mom. I like that. I
Well,
like that name. I don't like birth mom.
I don't either. You know what? I
Well,
might
you
do
go
that.
with your gut, girl.
Daughter's adoptive mom. I might. I appreciate that. That's what I needed. That was the push.
Yeah, I think that's the name of your book, and I keep it. Don't analyze
Okay,
it. It's done.
it's done. Period. Point blank. And it's
Um,
documented. We recorded.
say that again.
I said, and it's documented. This is recorded.
That's right.
We know.
So, can you tell everybody where they can find you and if they want to get involved and help you? Like, I know we're in Canada. Um, like I said, never know. We might be the 51st state soon. I don't know, but
No, so I
we're
my website is www.sydneycurtin.com. I also have coachcurtin.com. So same www.coachcurtin.com. If you want to help with our mission to change legislative, and we have a bunch of bills. That's just the one that I am personally most passionate about. But we've got some really amazing, like the Birth Mother Care Act. We don't want to see moms slammed with a bill or a cap on birth mother expenses. We want to see women know that they have the right to their own legal representation. Our heart is for what's in the best interest of the adoptee, first and foremost. The child is the center of all of this. And we want to see the right care for these mothers that make such a brave and sacrificial decision. So that's the heart. And that website is www.unplannedgood.org. And you can donate there. We would love your support and help. We are growing rapidly. God has been so good to our organization, and it's just been phenomenal. But everything helps absolutely, because right now none of us take a salary. There's a lot of nonprofits where they take a salary from that. We are not paid. Every penny of what we get is going towards our mission.
I love that. That's it's very powerful what you're doing. I was moved by you from the moment we met last year, and you've just gotten better with time. So, one day we will meet in person for sure.
That Colorado chapter. I'm going to be
there. Don't talk about that yet.
No, nobody knows. We don't know.
Nobody knows.
Chapter.
But if you had one message, let's do if you had one message for a mom thinking, or a mom, first moms thinking of putting their kids up for adoption, what would that be?
Read the book. Like you need to read my book. And it's not an ego thing. I needed that information so desperately when I was in that situation and didn't have anybody that had that lived experience to share with me.
Yeah.
You need to read the book. And if you are listening to this and you are considering placement for your child, I will pay for it. I will send it to you. I will sign it, and I will give you my personal contact information. So that's part one. But the biggest thing is that I really just want anybody really thinking about that to know that they are enough, because nobody told me that. So if there's extenuating circumstances like there were for me, I so respect your decision and your heart to do what's right for your child, and I support you in that decision too. But it is crucial that you know that if this is being influenced by outside voices, or if you want to raise your baby and you're being influenced one way or another to think about adoption, you are enough for your child.
I love that. What a message. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Sydney. It was so amazing having you on for the first episode of season 3. Everyone that's listening, please follow. I'll put all her information in the information, so you don't have to memorize it. You can just click below. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It was so good to see you.
Yeah, and we definitely will be chatting about other things. You'll probably see us collabing on something else later. I love that. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.